Hello and welcome back to Getaway Day. As always, I am Mason. He is Gautam. And today we are here to talk about some breaking news. But before we get to that breaking news, this podcast brought to you by Gautam. Gautam, how are you doing today?
Oh man, I'm doing great. Wow, I we just got a injection of surprise and amazing start to the trade deadline season, I guess.
Y-
Like what's going on here?
Yeah, honestly, in the Getaway Day realm of social media and content, this is a big weekend. So,
Yeah, this would have warranted an emergency pod. Luckily, we had a regularly scheduled podcast for tonight.
yes, very conveniently. Um, but that is also my way to plug another side project, Twin Bird Breaks. So Getaway Day cards still exists, but Twin Bird Breaks is something that myself and my friend Kasabi Compiles are starting. Gonna do some card breaks, do some more fast-paced card content than you see over on Getaway Day cards. Go check that out. We hit a monster Ronald Acuna Jr. one of one autograph last night. So big content stuff for the pod and all of the Getaway Day adjacent properties. Um God, that might make it sound like we have some big empire. In my head we do. Okay, but anyway, the reason we're here. Emergency scheduled pod time. Rafael Devers hit his 500th career extra base hit. It was a
Breaking news! Breaking news!
massive home run. Devers is all over the news today for exactly that giant milestone. Devers at the age of 28 is just off to an incredible start to his career. Almost 28 career WAR. Good player. Clearly, the Red Sox are happy to have him locked down long term. Hold on. I just got a notification on trade rumors. Oh my, Gautam, you're never gonna believe this.
Tell me.
Rafael Devers did it again. He's in the news twice today. He just got traded to the San Francisco Giants like an hour ago. The game just ended 3 hours ago. He legitimately did reach a major milestone today. The Red Sox tweeted a big thing about it themselves, made a big deal on social media, and then boom. You get what's it? Something Murray. The guy from
Robert Murray.
Robert Murray. There we go. We get a Robert Murray bomb that Rafael Devers has been traded to the San Francisco Giants for Jordan Hicks, Kyle Harrison, James Tibbs, and Jose Bayo. This is mid-June.
Yeah, this is shocking. I cannot think off the top of my head of a more shocking trade in the last, like, I don't know, while. Uh,
I mean,
it just came out of nowhere too.
yeah, like that's kind of the thing with it is like I could think of other big trades like this,
Mhm.
but never that I hadn't heard rumors about them before, and then it just happened for a player that was making over $100 million.
Yeah,
And
and a trade of this magnitude also doesn't just come together overnight. I assume the Giants and the Red Sox have been working on this for days, if not weeks. Because it's not like just some regular old trade that you can make within a couple hours.
yeah, now I know we've talked about Devers and the Red Sox quite a few times so far this year, but I do think maybe this warrants a quick refresher on everything. So while this is a very out of the blue mid-June blockbuster trade of a guy who still has like what,
8 years
8 years left on his
after this
contract?
after this season, yeah.
Yeah. 300 million or $312 million contract that he signed with Boston. And now a mere what, 2 years later, he is being traded. And before the season, there was a big ordeal with him not wanting to move off a third base because that was his position. Red Sox were trying to find another third baseman just to help improve the lineup, and keep Devers in the lineup, not replace him at all, but complement him. And he took offense to it. He didn't want to move positions. He thought about requesting a trade when Alex Bregman was signed. Then he settled into his role at DH. Things were quiet for a bit. Then Tristan Casas went down with an injury, and there was an opening at first base. They were about to get Masataka Yoshida back. They were about to get a couple other guys back that was going to kind of clog up the lineup, and they still had a blatant hole at first base. So the logical question, will Devers play first base? And they didn't necessarily ask him, but he made some comments about, now they're going to ask me to go do this. I don't play every single position. Like first base and center field are the same thing.
And he also called out the president of baseball operations, Craig Breslow, at that time, and that's where you could kind of see, yeah, things are not ideal in that relationship between executive and player, star player. And then that's obviously the thing that's led into this trade. It's been brewing, but yeah, those are all the events that kind of led up to it over
Well,
the last several months.
and then Alex Bregman went down. So now there's an opening at third base. Devers' natural position he didn't want to move off of. But instead of igniting this whole conversation again, they brought up Marcelo Meyer to debut, play third base. He's been over there. They've had Rob Refsnyder and Abraham Toro at first base. And the club has been really struggling to win consistently. Like they're a good club with a good rotation. They've got really good hitters in their lineup. Things just were not clicking, and now we see this trade, and it feels like to me that you do not do this trade if that relationship has any chance of being repaired. Like at this
Totally, yeah. I
point,
mean, it's a star player, and star players do not get traded under these type of circumstances a lot. Um, Typically, when a star gets traded, it's like they're on an expiring contract. They're not going to re-sign with the team. It's trade deadline. The team's kind of out of it. The Red Sox are not even out of the playoff chase. Really, they've actually won 5 games in a row. They just swept the Yankees over the weekend. Um, they're within games of being in the playoff hunt, and now they've traded their best player. That's obviously a very odd occurrence that's driven by unusual circumstances.
yeah, like the Red Sox are above 500. So while I did say that they're not able to win consistently, like the thing is just that they're not at the top of the division where they thought they were going to be. And so yeah, you're exactly right. There is one trade that I could think of in the somewhat recent past that is not a great comp, but it's the closest thing that I could think of. And that is the Arenado trade. Like the
Yeah,
Arenado trade, he still had like 2 or 3 more years on his deal.
it was more
Um,
than that, right? What do you mean? It
oh
was
yes,
like,
it was 6. Like he had just signed a new
yeah,
contract.
he just signed the
Yeah,
contract, so it's
it,
very
it
similar.
it was like 6 years, but the Rockies were dead in the water, like abysmal,
Yeah,
and so there was a little bit more of a reason to trade him,
he
and
asked
he
for the trade too,
specifically
right?
asked for the trade. Yeah,
Yeah,
which definitely removed any leverage that the Rockies had, and that's why the Rockies got such a bad return.
yeah. Well, the Red Sox, to take it back a few more years before this whole Devers situation, there's other precedent of the Red Sox, I guess, not being able to handle their star player properly, and just it's kind of like it's repeating the bet situation, but obviously in a slightly different form. But they weren't able to keep Mookie Betts. They ended up trading him, in
So
an off season.
who was the GM that ultimately drafted Mookie? Was it?
Epstein.
It was Theo.
Yep.
So both guys then basically had a situation where they were there under one guy. That guy got fired and replaced, or Theo left, but
Yeah.
went to the Cubs. But anyway, Heim Bloom is the one who signed Devers to the big deal. Then Heim Bloom got fired. He's now taking over the Cardinals. And now, 2 years later with Breslow, is when we're having this situation. So it kind of seems like Boston really just needs to get a superstar and uh Bebops and just get them married and then leave them alone. Because
Well,
it
that's
seems
what
like it's
those
the
other
front office
situations are
changes.
supposed to be, right? Because typically, if a guy's going to sign a guy to a big deal, he probably expects like he's going to stick around. Like nobody's signing a huge contract for a guy and then expecting to leave like the next year. He
Yeah.
got let go, and we've talked about the Heim Bloom situation plenty of times, and that's a whole nother topic with the Red Sox and their quick firings of executives that have just won World Series for them. Um, but I
Yeah.
mean, like it's but yeah, it's a good point that once the new executive is in town, they don't really care about what the last guy did. That's not their problem. They're doing the thing that they think is best for the team going forward. And clearly, uh, Craig Breslow is not feeling like this Devers situation could work out for the
Yeah.
Red Sox.
Well, and I mean, you could even tell that things were definitely different with Breslow than with Heim at the beginning of all this situation in spring when they were possibly going to get a third baseman. Because at the time, Devers was like, well, when they signed me to this deal, they told me that I was just going to be their third baseman, period. It's my job until I can't do it anymore. And that was part of the reason that he was all pissy. And understandable, but it does seem like he doesn't understand that just because one person promised you something doesn't mean everyone's going to honor that.
Exactly. Yeah.
But I
So
am
what does it
curious
mean?
to see what this
Go ahead.
means with him going and being essentially brought in by Buster Posey.
Wait, can we just finish up on the Red Sox
Yes.
side first and then go over to the Giants? So what does this mean exactly for the 2025 and beyond Red Sox? Because right now it kind of obviously in the immediate it frees up that logjam that they have with the lineup because they've got all these young players. Roman Anthony just got promoted this past week. Marcelo Myers up. You got Sedan Rafaela. You got
Christian
Christian
Campbell
Campbell. You got like four young stud players that are supposed to be the long term future of the Red Sox. Now they've
still got
all got positions
still got
and they can
Jaron
all play them.
Duran.
We've got Jarren Duran. I mean, this team's not bad by any means. They are not as good as they were hours ago because they're missing an elite, like top 10 hitter in the game.
And
But
Bregman's still hurt.
Bregman's still hurt. But I want to see. I've been very um, concerned about the handling of these young players because I've seen so many situations where it seems like the young players don't get deployed properly. Like they get platooned, they get sent up and down. They don't like get the full run of playing time. And when we're talking about elite prospects, I think these guys need to play every single day. I've seen Marcelo Meyer get subbed out as a pinch hitter with pinch hitters when a left-handed pitcher comes in. Like you don't do that with top prospects, in my opinion. And I hope that Alex Cora can just say, plug and play these four guys every single day, because they're supposed to be like superstars. They're supposed to be star players.
Yeah. I'm I'm really curious here to see. I think this move basically does open up more playing time for these guys.
It does. It
I
should.
think there were maybe two reasons for it that this is definitely me just kind of assuming the situation that's going on, but I think part of it is to remove the clubhouse cancer because that situation with all these young guys around is basically like playing with a lighter in a room full of gunpowder. Like you don't want to give these guys the impression that the club hates the players and nobody gets along, yada yada yada. You want a cohesive group where these guys can be nurtured into becoming the superstars that you want them to be. And right now, Devers is not helping anybody get to that level. And so, like, it's kind of like where, and I realize I'm talking a lot about Arenado, but I do feel it's a very similar situation. He was possibly getting traded this offseason to Boston because, in his own words last year, he was not playing well. And when he is not playing well, he is not a good person to be around in a clubhouse. That was Arenado's words about Arenado. And I think Devers is the exact same thing. And so getting him out of there, out of that room with these three is massive. The other part of
Yep.
it is to open up some more playing time when Bregman comes back because you're going to end up moving. I don't know. I kind of wonder if they'll move Bregman to first.
Why?
Let Marcelo stay at third.
Yeah. We'll see how that shakes out. I don't think they would move Bregman to first. Like he's an elite third base defender.
I mean, yeah.
He's the guy you want playing third.
Okay. Just me thinking out loud here. What about moving almost 33-year-old Trevor Story to first base? Marcelo plays short, which is his natural position. Bregman stays at third.
Yeah, I'm better with that
Okay.
idea.
Let's do that. I will send that note over to Craig Breslow here after the pod.
Yeah, I guess I see your point about the distraction of this whole situation hanging over the team, but I mean, it's not like it was affecting Devers' performance though. The guy
It
was
wasn't
like
affecting Devers'
amazing.
performance,
Yeah,
but we're not worried about Devers' performance.
but the good performance like helps the team, so you cannot minimize his contribution to the team. That they he's still a value to like he was still a value to the Red Sox no matter what distraction he was creating, right?
He was, but my point is that this trade allows them to potentially fill another hole that they have, which right now is healthy starting pitchers, um, while also removing some of the distraction. So they're hoping that the extra depth in the rotation will help them stabilize that part of the club without losing it. Basically that'll offset what they're losing from Devers, and then hoping that consistent playing time from these young mega prospects will help offset the offense. So
Yeah,
it's a big gamble. It's exactly
it
what it
is.
is a massive gamble. But I think as far as Breslow and Cora are concerned, this is a big weight off their shoulders. And I think it's going to, you'll see this club, I think, be a little bit more fun, a little bit more easygoing here in the next couple weeks. Um, that's just my prediction.
Yeah, it's going to be very interesting to see how this shakes out for this team because yeah, it's so risky because despite all the talent that they have, young talent, what's the likelihood that any one of these guys is going to be as good a player as Rafael Devers? It's like super low. So you don't just replace a superstar and that superstar has so much outsides value to the overall of the team. And there's no guarantee that they'll be able to like go out in free agency and sign Kyle Tucker because they have to go compete against other teams trying to do the same thing.
Yeah. No, this is going to be a very interesting story to watch unfold. This is now going to be the story of Boston for the next 3 years. It's going to
Yeah.
be exactly like when Mookie was traded to the Dodgers. Just after that, it's, well, we should have never traded him. We should have just signed him to the big money. We should have just let Devers do whatever he wanted to do and worked around it. It's going to be the same conversation.
Yeah. But for this year, it seems like they're way worse off than they would have been, and maybe they're sort of throwing in the towel for this season.
I Yes and no. I think they're,
It's not a full punt, but it's like, yeah, we recognize that we're facing an uphill battle to make the
it's
playoffs.
it's taking the sack to go back 3-17.
Yeah, exactly.
So I mean, they could still get it done, but it's a long shot. Um, but no, there are some good pieces that Boston got back from San Francisco here as well. Let's not completely forget about that side of the trade. So they just got Jordan Hicks to come in and help bolster their rotation. They
Probably
got
bullpen, right?
Kyle
'Cause he got
Harrison.
moved.
Oh, did he get moved to the
Hicks
bullpen
got
again?
he got moved to the bullpen, and he's on the injured list right now.
Oh, that's awkward.
He's not been good, but
Well,
he'll be good as a
that part I could have
he'll be
guessed.
good as a reliever, though. I think, and
Hell,
they probably
he
need
wasn't
that.
the first time.
Yeah,
So are you sure it's going to work better the second time?
I don't know.
But and then they also got Kyle Harrison, who was the biggest pitching prospect in San Francisco of like the last 10 years. And he's
Yeah,
not been incredible at the major league level. But he's been solid for
yeah.
like um definitely depth. Um but then they got two prospects as well. One of them a pitching prospects that I don't really know, the something Bayo. Not Brian Bayo. He is still on their club though, and he's healthy now. Um, but James Tibbs is the big one. He was the first round pick by the Giants last year, out of Florida State. Um, he's an outfielder, which their outfield is a little
A
bit
little
full now.
occupied. Yeah,
So we'll have to see what that ends up being.
but it probably doesn't matter. He's still at like high A or something. He's probably a few years away.
Yeah, he was a college bat though, so if he starts hitting, he'll probably jump up pretty quick.
Yeah,
So
but it feels so underwhelming on the surface because it's like, okay, you trade superstar, you get a interesting starting pitcher, you get a pretty good reliever, and then you get one good prospect and one just filler guy. And it's like, this does not feel like enough, but I think when you factor in the money offset, it probably makes more sense because the Giants are taking on the full 275 million, 250 million, I think, remaining on Devers' deal for the next 8.5 years.
yeah, and that's huge for Boston. That does open up quite a bit of money to go out and get a Kyle Tucker, if the ownership will allow Breslow to do that. We know what the ownership did with Heim Bloom. They hamstrung him into getting himself fired, basically, and then they gave his job to him 2.0. So
Yeah,
like we'll see how that goes, but they did just open up a lot of money. Um,
a lot of
so
theoretical money. Yeah,
yeah. Uh, then let's look at this from the other side though. So
yeah.
San Francisco is taking on a superstar. Third baseman hasn't played in the field yet this year. Do they put him at third base and do something with Casey Schmidt?
There's
Well, I
no
guess
point, right?
they
Because
have Matt Chapman on the
Chapman.
IL. So no,
Yeah.
I guess you wouldn't do that.
It would be hilarious to me if Devers ends up playing first base because the Giants urgently need a first baseman. They've actually recently DFA'd Lamont Wade and traded him to the Angels. They brought in Dom Smith. Obviously, Bryce Eldridge is getting close to his promotion. So I think ultimately Devers is just going to be the DH for the Giants.
Yeah, most likely. And to be honest, I think that's probably the best spot for him anyway.
It is, yeah. He's a DH.
But so we definitely won't see Elliot Ramos taking any DH at bats now. So he'll be out in the field every day, which I think he was anyway for the most part. But
Yeah.
um, although I didn't realize how many injuries San Francisco is dealing with right now. Andrew Kisner is essentially their starting catcher at the moment.
Oh, is Bailey hurt?
Yeah. So Pat Bailey, 10-day IL on 7th. So he'll be eligible to return in 2 days with a strained neck. So, um, and then Tom Murphy is also on the injured list. So they have two catchers down, and they're rocking Logan Porter and Andrew Kisner. Um, but anyway, so now this Giants team, which is doing very well. They're
Yes.
second place, only one game behind the Dodgers for first place in the West. And they now are rocking out a lineup with the top four of Jung-Hoo Lee, Elliot Ramos, Rafi Devers, and a finally starting to turn it around Willie Adames.
That's
That is,
amazing. That's so good.
and then
Yeah.
when Chapman's back, then you have Matt Chapman. This is the single best lineup we have seen out of San Francisco since 2014.
Yeah. And they just, yeah, getting Devers is huge for this team because how many episodes have we spent talking about the Giants not being able to secure a big star? I mean, they got Adames and they got Chapman, but those guys to me, they're like
They're
a
second tier.
definitely like a they're second tier. They're not superstars. They're good players, very very good players. And I have no issue with them being signed to long term deals. But Devers is on a different level than those players. And let's just think about all those free agents that they've tried to sign in the Zaidi era. They tried to sign like Bryce Harper, Aaron Judge, and probably Manny
Carlos
Machado and
Correa.
Carlos Correa. There's probably some other guys I missed there, but they've swung and missed, swung and missed. They almost got Correa, but they dodged a bullet, sort of. But yeah, it's like now they controlled this situation. With the trade, you can just go out and get the guy you want, give up the assets in terms of players or money or whatever. But yeah, it's absolutely like the missing piece for this Giants team because they've done so well on the pitching side now this year. That's the reason why they're successful. Their offense needs that boost. It needs that superstar hitter. I think it's going to transform this lineup and the team.
I think so too. So is it crazy to think that this in year one for uh, Buster
Buster.
Posey, this might be the move that like defines his career as a
Yes.
president of baseball ops. Like,
I think so because it's not like he can go out now and probably sign another free agent of this caliber. I mean, maybe they can down the road, but for the next few years, when Devers is like in his prime, he's the guy, right?
yeah. I mean, I think they definitely still have some money to spend. 'Cause it feels like San Francisco is at the point where they're ready to just go spend with the, not with the Dodgers, but like with the Mets, spend on that
Yeah.
level and try and win another championship. And it's looking like Posey he's definitely doing things different than Farhan. It seemed like Farhan relied only on his spreadsheets, and I know that this is a slam dunk. Obviously, you should make this move if you can, no matter what. Like, statistics be damned, it's gonna work out statistically for you, and
You
you're
got the
giving
best
up.
player, as simple as that,
Yeah,
right?
and you're giving up. I mean, a decent amount, but not $250 million that you feel very comfortable giving out. So, like, this is a slam dunk move, and like, I kind of think that San Francisco is now setting themselves up to win a World Series in the next 3 years.
Yeah.
I
It
still
looks
have a
good.
lot of questions with their pitching staff right now. They are back to a four-man rotation right now. With Kyle Harrison out, they are down to Webb, Landon Rupp, uh, Robbie Ray, Hayden
Birdsong.
Birdsong,
Yeah, no,
and
but I
JV's
guess
on the IL.
I want to give them credit for what they've done with the pitchers because some of those guys are not heralded guys like Hayden Birdsong and Landon Roop, but they're actually like they've got a ton out of them. It seemed like Harrison himself was like making a lot of adjustments, pitching better of late. So it's like they clearly feel kind of confident that they can develop pitchers. That's why you trade one of the guys because you feel like you can get another one from your system, and maybe that happens.
Yeah.
Um, I'm I'm happy with the trade. Like I love this trade for the Giants.
And you said that Joey Lucchesi was actually pitching today?
It was, yeah,
So they added him to the 40 man then today because he was not on the 40 man as of this morning. Um,
yeah, yeah.
so it'll be interesting to see if they keep him up and try and use him, or if this was more of a he was rested, we need somebody right now, and then they're going to turn to Mason Black or Keaton Wynn and give them another chance, or go to Carson Seymour or Trevor McDonald, one of those guys that hasn't really pitched in the majors yet. Um, so they do have some guys that are there at AAA that are pretty much ready, as ready as you could be. So I'm excited for the rest of the season for this club.
hmm Yeah,
I
I think I had more questions about their lineup, and this is clearly the biggest move that anybody's going to make in the trade deadline to improve their lineup.
Yeah. Is it crazy to think that maybe the Giants are gonna win the division? Is that crazy?
A little crazy, but the fact that they're one game out in like mid June tells me that they're kind of in it.
We just we just need Pat Bailey's bat to actually start doing something when he comes back from the injured list.
Yeah, yeah.
He is statistically the second best catcher in Major League Baseball defensively. Just need his bat to be somewhere average. And this team, the sky's the limit.
Yeah. And then just like from a historical perspective, the Giants haven't had a 30 home run hitter in like since like Barry Bonds or something from their outfield, I think. And maybe from their entire
I
team.
was gonna say, I think from their entire team.
Maybe from their entire team.
Because
So it's
because after that, like Posey was never a 30 homer guy.
nope. Yeah.
And they didn't really have any big mashers. They were very much like a small ball team with Crawford, with Brandon Belt, with I mean, I guess Brandon Belt was probably like the biggest power guy they had.
Yeah, he definitely had power, but he never played enough to be able to get to 30 home runs was a problem with him.
So he had 29 home runs in
Oh,
2021.
he probably that was the year when
It was
all the Giants
the
went
old guy
crazy.
season.
And he probably didn't even play that many games that season. He was unreal in that season.
97 games that
Yeah,
season.
his power is astronomically high. Uh, but like Devers hit his 15th home run today. So he's going to be like that 30 homer guy. I guess you can't technically count it because it's not a full season with the Giants. But just their ballpark does not play well for homers, but Devers is like an elite power hitter. He's not going to probably be limited too much.
So the really fun thing to me about Devers going and playing in San Francisco now, the splash hit counter is finally going to up.
Yeah.
Because that splash hit counter is like still only like 50 or something. And Devers, left-handed hitter with power. This is potentially going to be the biggest thing for the splash zone in San Francisco.
Absolutely.
And that is clearly the reason you make the trade. Because Levi Strauss needs the splash hit counter to go up.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right, you got any more takes on Rafael Devers? I assume the answer is yes, but we are 34 minutes into the conversation about Devers.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll be getting into this more as the season progresses, but yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing what he looks like in a Giants jersey. That's going to be just weird to me.
Yeah. Oh, actually, I do have one more point. And this point is actually what I'm going to use as my transition. This entire trade happened without Devers requesting to be traded. This was it. Supposedly, he's very happy to be getting a change of scenery and be out of that clubhouse and away from Craig Breslow. It did seem like they were about to get into a fist fight if they ever saw each other in person. Um, but Devers did not request a trade. Aaron Savali did request a trade. Aaron
Yes.
Savali was being relegated to the bullpen by Milwaukee because he has been horrible as the starting
Okay,
pitcher.
okay. Horrible. He had one bad start. It was his first start of the season. He got injured. Then he was been on the IL for weeks, and he's come back and he made 3 starts with the Brewers where he gave up 2 runs, 1 run, and 2 runs. So he's been pretty much like the
How
same
many?
old.
How deep was he going into those games?
He was going like 5 innings basically.
Because I was going to say he's so far averaged less than 5 innings a start, which must
Yeah.
have been that first one where he got blown up. But like his his numbers do not look good right now. Yeah, 3 innings, 5 runs in his first game. Then 4 innings, 5 innings, 5 innings. Um, but he was being relegated to the bullpen. He did not want to go to the bullpen, and the same day publicly demanded a trade from the team.
Yeah, but you're saying it like in like a very negative way. I thought he did it in a very professional way. He was basically like no hard feelings, but like I want to be a starting pitcher. I'm heading into my walk season. I've only done starting pitching in my entire career. I would like to get traded so I can go like do what I think is best for my career, and I respect it.
That's fair. I just it's the situation was just crazy to me, and so I in my head it's just what? Because really, Milwaukee is one of those clubs that is really really good at helping pitchers unlock what they're missing, and it seems like Savali would have benefited from that. So the fact that they were relegating him anyway, even though now I'm looking at his game log, I agree he has looked way better since coming off the IL. Um, but it actually kind of seems odd that they are relegating him, even though it I believe it was to bring up Jacob Mizorowski, right?
It was, yeah, yep.
Yeah, so it makes sense then. But the fact that he requested a trade and then the next day got his trade, he was traded to the Chicago White Sox for Andrew Vaughn,
Uh,
who very much also needed a change of scenery and some new coaches that could help him figure out what's going on with his swing. Because Vaughn is a very talented young guy. He's not been able to put anything together as far as um, season long stretch of solid play. And I would chalk up some of that probably to the fact that the White Sox have zero development in their entire system, just something that they have been constantly jeered at for years. So
yeah.
this will
It's
be an
kind of a
interesting
weird,
situation.
isn't it sort of a strange deal though because Savali's going to be a free agent. The White Sox are going nowhere this year, so they get his services for 3.5 months. And the Brewers get Andrew Vaughn, who's not a free agent until 2027. So they get like a real chance at a guy that could potentially crack their lineup, be their DH, be their first baseman, even as a part-time player. I feel like the Brewers like won this deal.
Agreed. I think the other part of it from the White Sox perspective is they don't know how to help Andrew Vaughn do anything more than what he's doing right now. He's out of options after this year. So like if they don't have a plan to be able to help him, then you're just going to DFA him next year. You might as well see if you could get a guy to help you right now win some games. Savali could potentially help some of these young starters that they do have. They don't have to turn to Mike Clevenger at any point this year.
Mike Clevenger still around?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And so I do see this actually as a good thing for that are starting to get some playing time. And at first base, where Andrew Vaughn was, they've got Tim Elko, and they've got Miguel Vargas has been playing some first base. There's a lot of guys that they're playing at different positions, and the youth movement is there, and they've been doing pretty good. Not great, but for the expectations that we had for the White Sox, this is a very successful season so far.
Yeah. But yeah, I think overall this was a bit of a weird situation because it was like I've never seen a trade request get filled so quickly within like one day of it going public. He was on a different team, and the fact that the team that actually traded for him was not a team that was a contender, I guess, tells you a lot about what the teams actually think about Aaron Savali. Because no other team was willing to beat that offer, and you would think another team that was just trying to improve their depth would want him for the playoff push because
Yeah,
he's like a fine number 5 starter.
that's true. Are they worried about injury history?
Probably. I mean, yeah, he gets injured all the time.
His like last year he pitched 31 games. He doesn't pitch terribly deep. 31 starts was 160 innings for him. So he doesn't go deep in games, and that was the only time he pitched over 125 innings in a season. So, part of me thinks that it is we're not getting a ton of innings. He's not an innings eater, and he's also not an absolute burner that's going to dominate every game. So it's like, is he worth the the capital we're going to have to give up to get him? Like if it's Tyler Glass now, yes, absolutely, because when he's on the field, he's absolutely dominant.
Yeah, this guy's like doesn't give you volume and he doesn't give you the best quality anyways. He's just pretty average.
Yeah. So I kind of get why he didn't have the biggest market. If he pitches well for the White Sox, then he might pitch his way into a 2-year deal.
I could see that, yeah.
But I don't think he's ever going to be a guy that gets a 3-4 year deal. And he wouldn't be the first guy in the White Sox rotation to be somewhat good this year.
Yeah,
So,
they've been surprisingly good.
I'm going to say that has been the only way they've won games so far. So wild to me. The pitching staff is somewhat okay. Well, they always seem to have one guy. Is
True.
they had Chris Sale, then they had Garrett Crochet. There was someone in the middle, but I don't know who.
They had Quintana when he was
Yeah.
good.
So they always have one, at least. But okay, speaking of the White Sox though. The bigger news. Sometime in the next 10 years, Jerry Reinsdorf is no longer going to own the Chicago White Sox.
Rejoice.
Rejoice! Now, that's definitely a weird way to be excited because it could be 5 years, it could be 10 years, and we do not know which one it is, but it's going to be no sooner than 5 years from now. So Jerry Reinsdorf has reached an agreement with current minority owner Justin Ishbia, owner of the Phoenix Suns, who purchased a minority share of the club from Jerry this offseason. They have reached a deal where Ishbia is going to provide a cash infusion to the club every year between now and 2028 of I believe it's 30 million a year. Um, I might have made that number up, but I think that was a thing. And every time he does, his minority share increases. So he's just slowly buying the club, basically. After 2029, or in 2029, Jerry then has the right to sell the team outright to Ishbia. Um, he does not have to until 2034, when Ishbia can force the sale. Now, the big thing here is that Jerry Reinsdorf is 89 years old. Justin Ishbia is 44 years old. So odds are Ishbia is going to own the club for a while, and he himself has time to wait. Um, I don't know what happens if we don't make it to 2029 before Jerry is not here. I don't know
They
um if his kids can then just sell the team outright then. Maybe.
probably things change. Yeah,
Yeah. But it seems a little odd to me that Jerry is like, I'm going to give this 5 more years at least. I think we can win a World Series.
you never know.
You would think he would want to sell the team, see if maybe they could win a World Series before he dies. But oh well.
Yeah.
Uh,
Well, Jerry says I'm reading here. Well, other information is that HBS deal gave him 35% of the team. By the way the organization is structured, Reinsdorf was a controlling part even without a stake. So
yes.
HBI actually has like the majority stake. Um, Reinsdorf will remain the sole day-to-day decision maker for the club. And Jerry also says, having the incredible opportunity to own the Chicago White Sox and be part of Major League Baseball for nearly 50 years has been a life-changing experience. I've always expressed my intent to operate the White Sox as long as I am able and remain committed to returning this franchise to the level of on-field success we all expect and desire.
Hmm. He's a little bit delusional, isn't he?
A little bit, but he's committed to the cause.
I mean, hey, respect. Like,
Yeah.
there are a lot of things to respect about Jerry Reinsdorf. His recent body of work is not that.
Most of his body of work is not very good, to be honest.
Yes, agreed. I'm mostly just trying to be nice here. I
Yeah,
didn't
you
have
don't have to do
specific
that.
examples.
Yeah, I was
Um,
gonna say I really can't think of those. I mean, they won a bunch of titles with the Bulls because they had one of the greatest players of all time, and they happened to win a World Series with the White Sox 1 year too.
yeah, you accidentally win a World Series with a club that, unfortunately, this is the worst club in Major League Baseball historically. Like, they have the least uh
Postseason,
number
right?
they
Like
have the least number of
postseason
postseason
percentage.
appearances. Yeah, like
Yeah,
percentage of seasons. They have the lowest percentage of making the postseason. Which, granted, they've been around since the 1800s or the early
yeah. It's like
1900s.
it's something like 10 or 11 postseason appearances, right? Ever?
Yeah,
Yeah,
something like
it's
that.
absurdly low.
Which, now, before 1968, there were only two clubs. It was just the
Still,
winner of each.
now it's so simple to make the playoffs, and they still
Yeah,
haven't really been able to do it.
yeah. So I kind of think it's time, Jerry. 50 years is a long time for you to not make the playoffs, but like 3 times.
Yeah.
Because most of their postseason appearances are in the early days of them existing. 1919, 1907, I think 1908. No,
No, it was 1906 when they beat
1906.
the
Okay.
Cubs in the World Series. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what it was. Okay. Um, yeah, when most of your postseason appearances are pre 1930, good.
Like you had a good run, Jerry. You bought the team for 19 million in 1981. Uh, the valuation of the Reinsdorf shares is around 1.8 billion today. So
Yeah.
you've done well.
All right. So 5 years.
5 years.
and maybe we've got a new guy in charge. Uh, you should tell us a story. Story of triumph over adversity. David versus Goliath. This time Goliath wins.
Yeah, yeah. So I was texting you about this specific at bat that happened on Friday between Garrett Crochet and Aaron Judge. So the lead up to it is that the Red Sox and the Yankees have been playing back to back weekend series. Last weekend at Yankee Stadium, this weekend at Fenway. And Garrett Crochet had been dominating Aaron Judge, who's been out of this world this season, just hitting close to 400 on the season, absurd power. And we haven't really talked about Judge probably enough this year, but what he's doing is kind of unparalleled, unprecedented stuff. But Garrett
Hold on.
Crochet, like, yeah,
You have to come up with a new word. That's the Ohtani word.
Otonic.
He's doing Otanic things. I like it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah,
Carry
so
on.
he's doing those things, and Garrett Crochet had his number in these um, games. So last weekend he struck him out 3 times in a row, and then on Friday night he had some good battles with him, but he struck him out again 3 times, and he was actually sent out for the 9th inning of this ball game. He had not given up any runs. So very cool situation, seeing a starting pitcher face Aaron Judge for a 4th time in the same game and for the 7th time in 2 weeks. So like they were very familiar with each other. And this at bat was so interesting because Crochet knows he's at the end of the line. He's trying to just seal the deal. The Red Sox are up 1-0. So he goes 4-seamer, throws a ball, throws a cutter, and gets a swinging strike. And then he just he's emptying the tank there. So he throws fastball that's fouled off at 98.7, a ball at 98.2, another foul ball on a pitch at 100.1 miles per hour, another ball at 100.2 miles per hour. And then Aaron Judge takes him deep on a 99.6 mile per hour fastball. So that's one of the coolest sequences I think you can see this season. Starting pitcher facing Aaron Judge in the 9th inning, and Aaron Judge hits a home run there to tie the game. The Red Sox ended up winning the game in the 10th inning, but I think that at bat was just kind of baseball, like one-on-one matchup at its finest.
So, a little bit of a hot take. I think that at bat specifically is going to be a turning point in the season for Aaron Judge.
Okay.
I think that is a sign that the rest of this season is going to be even nuttier than it has been so far for Aaron Judge. Because in the last week, he has hit 5 home runs to tie Cal Raleigh for the lead in home runs in the major leagues. He's at 26.
What are they at now? It's 26? Okay.
Yep. And Otani's at 25. Now, Judge has not had very many hits in the last few days. His average is actually down to 384. I kind of think that getting this home run on a 99.6 mile an hour pitch in the 9th inning off a guy who has struck you out 5 times in a row, I think that might be a sign that he's going to go on an insane tear and actually finish the season with the 400 average and the lead in home.
Yeah, it would be incredible. And I think that's the interesting thing about the 400 chase is because think about all the other guys that have tried for 400 or been close. They've all been like your Luis Ariz type, Tony Gwynn.
394, right?
394 in the strike season. But it's all been guys that have been more like your contact type hitters. It's never been a guy that could hit 50 plus homers in a season. And that's what we're seeing from Judge. And that's why it's so special. And I don't know. I don't think he's going to hit 400 if I'm being realistic. realistic, but I think there's a very good chance that he could hit like 350 the rest of the season.
Oh yeah, at this point, I think 350 is almost a lock.
Okay.
Like he
Yeah.
would have to have a really bad stretch, like
Yeah.
a lengthy bad stretch to get down to 350. And there's a lot of play left. Could very well
Yes.
happen. And I think Prince Fielder had like one of the best hitting seasons for a power hitter of the 2000s. I think he hit like 360 in
Didn't didn't Miggy
20.
hit like 365 one year that he won the Triple Crown?
Did he?
I feel like he did, or maybe I'm thinking of somebody else.
So I know Prince Fielder had a really insane season for the Brewers. It was uh maybe I'm not thinking Prince Fielder. Prince Fielder hit 300.
He had a he had a 50 homer season once, right?
Yes, he
At
did.
least.
He
Yeah.
288 average and 50 homers. Maybe it was Miguel. See what his triple crown season. Do you remember what year that was? Is it
Like 2012,
13?
2012 and 2013.
Okay. 44 home runs, 348 average.
Okay, yeah. That's what I think we're going towards, but with more power, because Judge seems like he's more likely to hit like 55 homers this year.
I I mean, 5 homers this week. He's putting himself back on pace to break 60 again.
Yep.
And at this point, you can't say 60 is a long shot. We've seen him do it. He's like
Yeah,
the only
yeah.
guy I think that can hit 60.
Other than Otani, right?
I don't know. I think 60 would be tough for Ohtani. Like, obviously, he's
What do you
got the
mean?
power.
He got like 50, didn't he hit like 57 last year or something? Or or was that
Thought
the steals?
thought it was 57 steals. It was like 54
Okay.
home runs, I think.
Yeah. I think you're right.
Um, 54, yeah, 54, 59.
Yep.
Um, but I mean, yeah, it's only 6 home runs to get to 60, but it's a lot of home runs.
Yeah.
So,
I
and
think
Otani already played 159 games, a full 731 plate appearances. Judge has the single best home run per plate appearance, I think, in history, or like top two of all time. I think.
yeah,
Um,
that's probably right.
I
But I
know.
think I saw something that that Otani had his longest drought of not hitting homer, and it was 10 games that he just ended on Saturday.
Dang, Judge is at 58 R WAR. Let's see. What was the stat that I? It bats per home run career. Aaron Judge is second all time behind only Mark McGuire.
Huh.
So Mark McGuire hit a home run every 10.6 at bats. Aaron Judge hits a home run every 11.2 at bats. Babe Ruth hit a home run every 11.76. And then Barry Bonds, and then Shohei Ohtani at fifth. But Shohei
Yeah.
is a full 2.5 plate appearances more between home runs. So I think that the only guy, like Sammy Sosa, is the only guy who has hit 60 that is, well, I guess technically also Roger Maris. There's only two guys that have ever hit 60 home runs in a season that are higher than 13 at bats per home run in their career. So therefore, I think Shohei can do it. I don't think Shohei will ever get 60. I'm going to say that now so that you could do a gotcha whenever he hits 60.
Yeah. Don't count that guy out.
But at some point, he's got to have a limit, doesn't he?
Yeah, you would think.
Adam Dunn, 14.9 at bats per home.
Yeah, all he did was hit homers, and it's kind of like what Judge does because he should not be having a 378 average, right? With the type of player that he is, he's like second percentile in whiff rate. So it's not like he makes a lot of contact. It's just this year, for whatever reason, everything he hits is going out or it's landing
Yeah,
somewhere.
it's finding a hole.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. Um, Last thing we should probably mention. It's a little weird that we have three guys at 25 home runs right now, and that Aaron Judge is hitting all of these home runs because for the fourth time in the 5 years that we've been podcasting, the baseball has changed again. Nobody knows why. Nobody knows exactly what's different. Ball is deadened again. You got any information you can share with us on this exact topic?
Yeah, so MLB is not like shying away from this one like they maybe have done more in the past because they confirmed yes, the ball is different. It has different performance. Uh, they've noted that it has a 4 foot reduction on long flies, but they did not give like extra information there. They also stated that there were no intentional changes that were made to the ball for this season. Um, so now, since the Statcast era, we've had drag information publicly available, so everybody can see it. Everybody notices this stuff as it's happening. Um,
Did it win Drag Race?
there's yeah, it won. It won. It's the
Dang.
best in the
RuPaul
last
is
10 plus years.
really
Yeah.
loving MLB's drag.
Yep.
Right.
Uh, so they're sort of covering themselves by saying, "Yep, there's no change to the manufacturing, storage, or handling. All the baseballs remain within specifications, and they're just continuing to study the potential causes beyond normal variability,
Because they're
and
all
that
handmade in Costa Rica, right?
handmade in Costa Rica for the Major League Ball.
Okay.
So just within that, you probably got wider um, manufacturing tolerances just because it's a handmade process, not a machine.
Should they send down some third party engineers?
That's what we should be lobbying for, right?
I think so. I think we can
We got
help
to go
them out.
test the balls. I think we could. Um, Other notes are that potentially a tiny change in seam width or height could be a possible reason for this, but nothing is conclusive at this point. So it's kind of like, once again, this is having real effects on the season. Just you see it if you watch a lot of baseball, like day after day, you see so many fly balls that seem like they're not going as far as they typically would. They're just dying on the track. Um,
I saw
and
one actually earlier today, and I don't think this one in particular would have been out anyway. Um, but it was hit in Fenway by remember who it was. I don't think it was Judge. Um, but it was 106 mile an hour off the bat with a 33-degree launch angle, which is, I believe, qualifies as a blast, right? Not just a barrel blast.
I think so, yeah.
So that ball would go out almost any stadium. Now they hit it to the deepest part where it still has to go over the monster.
Oh, okay.
So I don't think it would have gotten out, but it didn't even hit the wall.
Like center field,
Yeah,
like
center
left center
field.
field.
Right
Yeah.
where it's like the monster and then the shorter wall where it's got the yellow line, and if it hits to the left,
Yep.
it's fair. If it hits to the right, it's gone.
Yeah.
Um, it didn't even hit the wall. It died at the track. And it was pulverized.
Yeah.
So it's wild to see. But I imagine we will hear more about this in the coming weeks and probably talk about it a lot more because that's what we do. So,
Yeah, they gotta get this consistent now. It's been going on for years now, and if it just keeps changing every year, it's just
well, and
unacceptable.
I don't think it would have mattered if they would have never like made Statcast public.
Absolutely, yeah.
Like
Nobody
that's
would have
that's the only
known,
reason that we know.
and it's probably something that has a precedent in history, right? There's probably been lots of different balls and ball changes over the years that nobody ever knew really.
So 1968, I know that the big thing in 1968 versus 1969 was the height of the mound. But
Yeah.
I can almost guarantee you that the ball also had something to do with it.
I think we talked about this maybe last year or the year before when we were talking about ball stuff. Like you can kind of look at the results and kind of find the points in history where it looks like, oh, this was like a dead ball year.
Yeah,
Obviously, we talk about 2019 all the time. That was like a juice ball year
2014
where
was a
balls.
dead ball,
Yep.
and that was the last year before we had Statcast.
Yes. And I believe 2016 is the year that had the second highest drag after 2025.
That sounds right. There was like a 3-year period where it was just a really dead ball.
14 through 16, I think.
Yeah. All right. Well, do you have anything else that is really just scratching at your brain and needs to be put on this
Oh,
podcast
I
tonight?
I did want to talk about Zach Wheeler just really quickly before we
Yes.
go.
Go for it.
So Zach Wheeler, um, maybe he said it when he first signed his latest extension with the Phillies, but it's come back up, and it's that he stated his intention to retire once his contract ends at the end of 2027 season. I just thought it's notable because you rarely see a guy like years in advance of that date say that they're going to retire, and especially a guy that's like at the top of his game right now. He is an older guy, he's like 35 or so.
37.
He's 37 now.
Well, now I'm questioning if he's 37 now or if he's going to be 37 when his contract is up.
I think he'll be 37 when his
Um,
contract's up.
yes, sorry, I misread that. He'll be 37 when his contract is up. Yes,
Yeah,
sorry,
but
carry
I
on.
guess I like it because it's kind of like you don't see guys get to go out on their own terms when they're still playing well. It's usually like they're hanging on for dear life and they get pushed out of the league. And it seems like Zach Wheeler just wants to do it his own way, and he kind of knows like that's going to be it for him, and he's not going to have any regrets about it.
Kind of wonder if we're going to see Kershaw something similar here in the
But
very near
he's
future.
exactly the opposite, right? Because he keeps going year to year. Yeah, I still got it. I can still do this.
Yeah, but he's also still also only 35.
He's only 35.
He's well, he
I
might
thought
be
he's like
30.
37,
He might
38.
be
Yeah.
37.
Yeah.
But I guess I'm sitting here thinking of like Charlie Morton and Justin Verlander and guys that I love them. They still definitely have a little bit in the tank.
Yep.
Part of me kind of thinks maybe they should have retired.
Yeah. Yeah. You
Like
definitely get that feeling sometimes.
I know Verlander is chasing some milestones, and
Yeah.
that's part of the reason that he's not going to retire. I get that, but at the same time, almost kind of feels like now you're just going for the counting stats instead of just going out as the dominant guy. Exactly what you're talking about here with Wheeler.
Yeah.
And I don't know, like Kershaw still has a year or two of me giving him leeway of not overstaying his welcome because of how early he debuted and was dominant. Like,
Yeah. And with a guy like Kershaw, it he's still kind of got it. His last two starts, he's been great.
yeah,
Seems like
his
he's
curveball
actually
started
helping the
looking
team.
incredible again.
Yeah. And I don't know, like, yeah, these guys, these old guys, they still find a way. Like Charlie Morton had a 10 strikeout game. Is like it's amazing
That
that
wasn't the
they
one
do
against the
it.
Cardinals, was it?
No, no, it wasn't.
Oh, thank God.
But basically, since then, he's been pitching a lot better.
Yeah, and I mean that doesn't surprise me at all. That's what these guys have been doing for years is just figuring out a way to use their stuff to trick guys and they're not overpowering anybody. But yeah, like Wheeler could definitely do that if he wanted. So it's very respectable to see him go, you know what, 37, I've had a very long career, which at that point, let's see, he will have played 1, 2, 6, 7, 13 seasons as
Yep.
a full-time starting pitcher in the major leagues. That is
Including some periods where you could make the case that he was the best pitcher in the league. Like right now, he's right up there with the Skeens and the Scoobles.
basically 2021 to now.
Yep.
Is he had his 7.2 WAR season in 2021. And he's been an absolute workhorse with a sub 3 ERA basically every year since 2020, but obviously 2020 is we don't give that one a whole lot of credence, but it stuck after that. So I think I'll give him the extra 70 innings because it was staying. So
Yeah. Great career, and he shook the label as like an injury-prone guy when he was with the Mets to become now the workhorse that he is today, where I think he's pitched more innings than anybody in the last like 5+ years.
uh so the crazy thing to me is he was only injured one time with the Mets.
Really, but he had that label on him.
Yeah. His rookie season, 17 starts, 100 innings. His second season, 32 starts, 185 innings. 2017 is when he got hurt. 17 starts, 86 innings. Then the next year, 29 starts, 182 innings. 31 starts, 195 innings. And then he goes to the Phillies.
Wow. So yeah, he's been incredible, basically, in terms of volume.
Yeah, in terms of volume, absolutely. Now, the other thing with his time with the Mets is he hadn't quite figured out his full dominance. Because he was 3.42 ERA in his rookie season, 100 innings, 3.54. Then in his injury, 86 innings, 5.2, not great. But then 3.3, 3.96, and then since he went to the Phillies, he has only been over 3 one time. So really, his thing was just he was still young and hadn't quite figured it out yet.
Yeah.
But I kind of think Zach Wheeler might be one of the best pitchers of our generation now. Looking at his stats page,
I'd say so, yeah.
but yeah, so big kudos to him though for basically saying, yeah, I'm gonna stick it out for the rest of this contract, and I'm still gonna be coming in every day, pitching my ass off. I'm gonna go home.
Yeah. Nothing else to prove, really. You don't have to just hang on.
Ooh. So with that, I believe we have pretty well covered everything we wanted to talk about. So I think we will let you guys get out of here. If you enjoy the podcast, please subscribe on your favorite podcasting app or YouTube to make sure you don't miss any future episodes. Join the conversation on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok at Getaway Day Pod. If you enjoy card collecting, check out our sister YouTube channel at Getaway Day Cards.